What if I told you the online Autism Quotient Test is holding secrets that will change the way you see autism and perhaps even the way you see yourself? Well, stay tuned, because over the next 3 minutes I'm going to reveal the hidden truths behind your quotient score and how it might not mean what you think it does. Believe me, you don't want to miss this one. Hi there, Simo here again. Now, I know life on the spectrum can be tough. If you've ever felt like traditional ideas about autism just don't fit who you are, believe me, you're not alone. So let's talk about the online Autism Quotient Test, or AQ test for short. Most of us start our journey to understanding autism through the AQ test. Perhaps you've seen it online, or maybe you've already even undertaken it. You know, the 50 questions, the score out of 50, and then boom, all of a sudden it's telling you whether you might have autism or not. But here's the catch. What they're telling you your score means is only part of the picture. In fact, it's only a small piece of a much greater puzzle that very few people are actually talking about. So let me break it down for you. On the surface, the AQ test is measuring your autistic traits. It's not considered to be definitive because it is based entirely upon opinion. Even though it might feel scientific, it's just a way of asking you how you feel about your own particular behaviours. The test isn't objective, and that means that your answers can be influenced by your mood, your experiences, or even how you interpret the questions on that particular day. The test is just an indication of your likelihood of being diagnosed if you so choose to get a clinical assessment. However, the AQ test is considered to be an accurate and effective tool for measuring autistic traits in both academic and clinical settings. If you front up to a doctor and tell them that you suspect you might be autistic, they'll point you towards the AQ test, and then depending upon your results, they'll refer you for a clinical assessment. But here's where it gets really interesting. The AQ test isn't just measuring your autistic traits, it's also measuring your cognitive style, the way your brain likes to think. Simon Baron-Cohen, the guy who created the Autism Quotient Test, had a theory that there are two cognitive styles, the empathizing and the systemizing, and that everybody has a mixture of the two. And it is upon this theory that the AQ test is based. Those who score on the lower end of the scale tend to be people who think in a more emotional, empathizing style, and those who score on the upper end of the scale tend to be people who think in a more logical, pattern-based, systemizing style. And guess what? Everybody scores somewhere on this scale, regardless of whether they're autistic or not. But here's the kicker. If you score on the higher end of the scale, the world wants to put you into this box labelled autism. But what if that box doesn't actually exist? What if there is no clear dividing line between neurotypical and autistic? What if that dividing line was actually something that somebody made up because they decided in their own mind that this way of thinking was normal and that this way of thinking was something that needed to be fixed? If this is starting to blow your mind a little, then that is a good thing, because when you start to realise that the AQ test isn't actually separating people between autistic and non-autistic, but is in fact measuring the ratio of their empathizing to systemizing cognitive style, you start to see things in a completely different light. Those many challenges you faced in your life because you score on the upper end of the scale weren't because you're broken in some sort of way. They're because the world was built for people who score on the lower end of the scale and who have a completely different cognitive style than you do. And those exceptional abilities that you have, they're not just quirks. They're proof that your systemizing brain sees and solves things in ways that most people never ever could. There's so much more to this story, stuff that the mainstream world of autism just isn't talking about, stuff that can help you to understand yourself better. So if you're ready to unlock the hidden secrets of the AQ test and to begin seeing autism through a completely different lens, then I'll put a link to one of my blog posts in the description below, Understanding Autism, What Your Autism Quotient Score Meaning Reveals. And if you're really hungry to learn more about the hidden secrets of the AQ test, then this video over here is probably what you're looking for.